everyone. This is Father Michael coming to you from St. Francis of Assisi at our parish office during our coronavirus 2020 quarantine situation. Just wanting you to know that we are praying for you and that we are here to pray and hoping to be in solidarity with you in your prayers as well. Today, in our Gospel and in our readings from Mass, in the first reading we heard from the book of Deuteronomy, and it's Moses talking to the people of Israel. He's just received the law from God on the mountain, and now he is giving that law on to the people, telling them to observe these decrees and ordinances. This is the first law that they've ever had in their lives. And to do that so that they might not forget the good things that God has done for them, and that they might worship God correctly in spirit and in truth, to worship God in the right way. But then in the gospel, we see that Jesus is talking to his disciples and some of the Pharisees and saying that he's not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. So we see really that the law is a good thing through both of these readings, that the law is a good thing. Those practices we follow as Catholics, those are good things that are put in place so that we might worship God in the right way. It's so easy for us to go off in different directions and worship false and empty gods. And especially right now, in a time where there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of unrest in our hearts, perhaps, it is a great thing to go back and to see how God asks us to worship him, how he asks us to pray with him. When we can't come together as a community, it's especially crucial that we continue to worship God and that we continue to pray to him in our homes, with our children, and to unite ourselves in prayer with each other. In the gospel that we heard on Sunday from Jesus talking to the Samaritan woman, he tells her that the time is coming when the people won't worship God on a mountain where the Samaritans did, or in Jerusalem where the Jews did. But he said, truly in spirit and in truth, that the people will worship God in spirit and in truth. What he means by that is that God is not going to be confined to a certain place, that he's not going to be confined to the temple in Jerusalem. He's not even confined to the church or the tabernacle on the altar. But God is everywhere. He's in our midst wherever we are. I remember taking a class in the prophets, and the professor said that the word for in our midst, or in the midst, that was used in Hebrew in a lot of these prophetic books is really a visceral translation. It almost means like it's inside of us. That God is inside of us. He's like in our intestinal tract or something, and it's kind of strange to hear that. But it also kind of makes sense because God is really closer to us than sometimes we want to recognize, or that we want to know. So remember that today. Maybe you're at home and you can't go out, or maybe you're at work and you can't talk to the person unless you're 6 feet from them. Remember that God is truly in our midst today, friends. And let us remember to continue to worship God in spirit and in truth.